Hi everyone, my name is Astrid. A couple of years back on this channel, I made a video that you can see here titled 1 Year in My Transition. Well, now we are over 3 years into my transition, and after getting a couple of comments from you guys, I thought that it would be really fun to actually go back and rewatch that video and kind of share a little bit of how my thinking has changed and also just update you on where I've been since. Alright, so here is the original video that I posted a little over 2 years ago when I was a year into my transition. I have actually not watched this video since I've posted it. I try and keep up with the comments and some of the engagement here on YouTube, but for the most part, this channel just kind of sits until I feel like doing stuff with it. So this is definitely going to be interesting for both of us. Anyways, let's get right into it. We gonna be okay. We gonna be okay. Oh my god, that really aged like milk so fast.
Jesus Christ. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Eden. It's good.
Oh my god, that aged like milk so fast. So for those of you who don't know, I actually changed my name shortly after this video. So my name is now Astrid. Funny enough, so my previous name, which you can find in this video, was Eden, spelled E-D-A-N. Asher Smith. So my name now is Astrid Eden Smith because I thought it'd be kind of funny and clever to try and do like a more feminine spin on a pretty feminine name as it already is. You know, I had some options here and there, but I gotta say, within the trans community, there are already a lot of Ashleys, and I felt like I couldn't contribute to that epidemic, so I just kind of rounded up and went for Astrid.
Talk to you. It has been like 6 years since I last uploaded on this account.
And that's true. Aside from re-uploading some of my old TikToks and stuff that, you know, I've been keeping up with on my other social media, for the most part, really the only thing that I've posted on this channel has been this. I haven't even really updated since, so it's good to be back. As well as that, check out my music video for Bloodsucker and for End of Me if you want to see a little bit of what I've been doing outside of just updating people about my transition. Anyways.
So, I just randomly had the thought, I was like, I should start making videos again. I love doing that. I was like, well, what do I talk about? And my favorite fucking thing is to do a whole lot of and watch videos of trans girls' transitions so far. And so I thought that for a good first video, a nice classroom introduction, maybe I could go through the last year of my life, because as of 3 days ago, it has been a whole motherfucking year since I started my gender transition. On a side note,
I would just like to say I do kind of find it funny as the years progress how, like, the earlier you are in your transition, the way more excited you are to like really tell everybody everything about it. Like, you know, like looking back on it, like, you know, I'm really just talking about myself here. A year feels like really not that much amount of time, you know, looking at it retrospectively. So this to me is just like, oh girl, you have no idea what you're in for. And on another note, I would just like to say that I was in the heat of doing some really intense voice training at the time, and I don't really like that like wispy, like, I don't know if this is like a California girl accent or whatever, where I'm just like, hey guys, my name is Astrid, and today we're gonna be taking a look at the... Anyways.
I'm playing the microphone like this because I thought it would be funny, not because I'm trying to do something ASMR, but I also do talk very soft, so...
That is such a lie. I talk like this, okay? Whenever you get on hormones, your voice does not change. I would just like to let people know that you know, it takes a lot of intentional effort to sound different than you did before. And it took a lot of growth in my confidence to actually just be able to use my normal speaking voice, and years to come to the realization that my voice is feminine because I'm feminine and it's my voice.
Hopefully you like that. Alright, starting off, I thought that we could go through a little bit of my life prior to my transition. So I came out when I was 18 years old. However, I decided that I would inevitably transition when I was actually about 10 years old. My thought process throughout my adolescence was that going through middle school and high school as a transgender woman could be very hard. And I honestly just didn't feel like I was ready yet. There were a number of factors kind of playing into the barriers that kept me from wanting to transition. I would at least start my transition from male to female after I graduated high school and before college starts. I am now 19 years old. I came out on my 18th birthday last year to my previous partner. I was with my previous partner for about 2 or 3 years before I came out, and we ended up splitting up.
Yeah, so I guess as you can see here, I was still very heartbroken over this whole issue. However, I would just like to say that over the years, it does get a lot easier. Because I think in this video, I was projecting a lot of my insecurities, not just about this one relationship, but about the way that I was starting to be treated differently by everybody and how hurtful that is. So I've kind of gone through the ebbs and flows of it. You start off just very sad and remorseful, and you feel like you've lost something. Then I became angry and jaded, and then angry and then jaded and then sad, and then it's like this whole cycle. And I've just kind of ended up in this place where, now I'm just like, man, I don't have time for people like that. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. If people seem to have a problem with me to the point where they want to use violence against me, I can't necessarily stop my life just to prevent that from happening. But I can carry myself with the same pride and confidence all the time, and no matter what happens, be somebody that I'm proud of. And I think, at least for me, I've found a lot of solace in that type of resolve.
To make a long story short, our relationship definitely wasn't a healthy one.
Yeah, no, the more time that I get to process this and the longer that I'm in a functional relationship, I've actually been in a relationship for about 3 years now. So about the entire span of my transition, and throughout this video, realizing what true love from a partner is absolutely unbelievable. And the experience of also just getting to date other trans people and confide within your circle of queer people, as well as just having a partner or somebody that's really close to you in your life that understands, has been monumental in my personal growth, I just gotta say. I'm gonna try not to interrupt myself too much, but there's a lot to this that I could unpack if I'm really trying to.
To make a long story short, our relationship definitely wasn't a healthy one. I had a lot going on, obviously, and they wanted a lot of control over my life. So whenever I came out as trans, they honestly begged me not to. I was told that I couldn't or I shouldn't, or that if I did, they would walk away. So even though I came out on my 18th birthday, and at first they were kind of helpful about it, which is where I got to try on my first clothes and do my makeup for the first time. After about a week or so, though, that all ended up souring, and I could tell that something had just kind of changed. So they convinced me that I shouldn't transition, and I held off for another month or two, but then I just kind of realized, what the fuck am I doing? Who am I waiting on? What am I waiting for? So I just came to this realization that nobody could possibly love you as much as they say they do and not let you do that.
Yep. Wiser words couldn't have been said. Seriously. I feel like I've continually learned this lesson over and over with different people throughout my life, but this is just one of those fundamental things that I can't really change about myself. And so it has really created a lot of different instances in my life where I've had to just tell people, you're either going to have to get over it and love me fully or get out of the way. There's no other way around this. And, I think one of the biggest things that I'm noticing watching this for the first time is how much my confidence has really grown in different ways, especially my confidence in the relationships that I have with other people and the ability to assert my own boundaries. I seriously, looking back on it, think that was one of the biggest barriers that I was having in my happiness, and that ever since I started taking steps to, kind of just keep the conversation in my court in positive ways, it's reflected a lot better on my mental health.
Not let you transition. And so I realized that for better or worse, I had to end it. I ended the relationship right then and there. And after that, it took a little bit of time before I felt like I was ready to come out to my friends or family. You know, I was just kind of reeling from the breakup as we were together for a few years. I just had a lot going on. However, though, about a month or two after the breakup, I finally came out to my parents, to some of my friends. I started practicing makeup every day. I remember the first day that I tried on makeup. I was super, super embarrassed about it. And this was when I was with my previous partner. We would sit in our room and get like super, super playing like Super Mario Sunshine.
That was one of the darkest periods of my entire life so far, looking back on it. Hopefully nothing ever gets that bad again. But I was seriously like blacking out every night for months and months on end. And I was actually fortunate enough to keep a journal around this time. And it does I don't know if it necessarily makes me feel better, but it inspires me a lot whenever I'm having a bad day, because I open it up and I will read journal entries for myself that start like, you know, probably early in the afternoon, and it's just me like talking about how my day was or whatever, and then just over the course of the evening, by like 8 p.m. I'm literally scribbling on the paper till I fall asleep. Like it was bad. I had an incredibly unhealthy addiction to alcohol that persisted from that time and continued on well past this video, and actually wasn't something that I started to take seriously and try and get more under control until within this last year, when I was coming up on turning 21. I got very scared of the idea of having unlimited access to alcohol whenever I wanted it. Therefore, I decided to just completely quit. Same with smoking nicotine, which was something that I was doing at the time in this video, which, by the way, if you're trying to get on hormones, I know especially for estrogen, that is really, really bad for your estrogen levels. Not trying to guilt anybody about their nicotine use, but if that is something that you're concerned about, that's definitely something to look into for sure. And, you know, I'm not necessarily sorry for saying that nicotine sucks, and having an addiction to it sucks. And if you don't like it, you should definitely take some steps to try and work on that. It was really hard for me, but looking back, it was totally worth it. I've been a lot happier because of that too.
And they would do my makeup and it looked horrible. No offense, but like we were really, it would take us like 2 or 3 hours to do my makeup, and I looked ratchet as fuck, and I had this busted ass wig and an outfit that didn't even really fit me, and I didn't know how to like fold the socks in my shirt or whatever. But when I looked in the mirror, I know it's super corny, but I really did feel so complete. I don't know how else to describe the feeling. That moment, you realize like my life is like this big fucking, what the fuck am I saying? I saw myself and my potential as that big block of marble, and all I had to do was carve away at it, refine and smooth the edges, and just become more of who I want to be. But for the first time, I had a vision of who I was. Before that, I couldn't imagine who I was going to be 2 months in the future, let alone 5 years. I was honestly incredibly depressed. I have bipolar disorder, anxiety disorder, and I honestly was certain that I was going to, content warning?
I'm gonna kill myself is what I was gonna.
Kill myself before I graduated. Absolutely certain. I remember when I presented feminine for the first time. First thing that came to mind, I was like, oh my god, I want to wear a dress to my wedding. I want to get married someday, and I want to wear a dress to my own wedding.
That has not changed. I think that is still one of those things where when I think about my transition, where I started off, where I'm ending up, you know, especially as that sort of stuff comes closer and closer as I get older, it is something that still like gives me chills when I think about. And another thing that I'm just so proud of, that I have the opportunity to make it to that point, being somebody that I really love, with somebody that I really love. That's really special.
like, seriously, ever since then, I've had my fair share of hard days, but even at my worst, I still feel so good. I still feel like I have so much to look forward to, and that there are so many great things that are going to be and that are currently happening in my life. And my transition and seeing myself gave me the opportunity to live my life on my own terms and not being defined by trying to be the expected version of myself. I played very hard into what other people expected of me. Obviously, of societal expectations, we all do that. But I took it one step further, and I was just very much not at all comfortable being myself.
Even in the context of this video, I still wasn't very comfortable being myself. I would say for probably about another year after this video, I was so obsessed with the idea of passing and just trying as hard as I could not to stand out in any situation for any reason ever. And that is so incredibly draining and is very telling of a lot of that residual insecurity that I was carrying for a long time. That, you know, even in this, I didn't have the foresight to understand that I was still very much in the thick of it in a different way. And it goes through these stages. There are still a lot of different ways where I struggle with my identity in different ways, even though I'm way more insecure in my identity than I was before I transitioned at this point and the point before it. It's just like, dude, yeah, maybe the gender aspects of it have subsided a lot, but nobody ever really has it completely figured out who they are. And I think especially whenever you're trans, that can be super, super muddied and very confusing a lot of the time.
But yeah, I've heard other trans girls describe it as living somebody else's life. That's really how it felt, like you're going through the motions of not just some things, but everything, every meal you eat. You feel like there's this blood-sucking host, and everything given to you just gets passed through them and ruined. That's honestly how I felt about myself and my body.
Fun fact, this is a little tangent about my music, but my most popular song to date, Bloodsucker, was actually written around the same period of time that I had filmed this video. It only came out back in February, but is actually about what I'm talking about here. It's about my relationship with myself throughout my transition, and before that, feeling like I was being eaten away by a masquerade, a false identity. So, having not heard this in years and kind of coming back to it, it is really interesting that I used that exact same phrasing. I was very clearly actively working on that song at the time, so that's cool.
I was so uncomfortable with my beard and my body hair that I really never felt like I was going to be beautiful or lovable. I don't know. Even on the days where I feel like shit and I think I'm super ugly or whatever, it's like, at least I have a wonderful future to look forward to. Like, even if it doesn't feel good now, I'm still just carving away at that marble. And maybe I will my entire life, who knows? But I'm a lot further than before I started. And honestly, it's the greatest thing. Like, I feel like I have a direction and somebody that I want to be and improve. So if you yourself have been questioning your gender identity, and maybe you're certain that you are non-conforming, trans, non-binary, I would implore you, absolutely freaking implore you.
Can't hear you.
To just go for it.
Oh my God.
As soon as it is safe for you, as soon as you have the opportunity, just run with it.
Yep, and I'm going to reinforce that point and say that if you've been questioning your gender identity, you feel like transitioning is the right route for you. Oh my gosh, if you could take anything as a sign to just do it, just do it. Just do it, dude. Seriously. I have zero regrets. I know so many trans people now from all different walks of life, and you know how many of them regret it? Absolutely none. If this is something that you're considering, it could potentially save your life. Please, please take the steps that you need to for yourself. Stop worrying about what other people expect of you and just start living your life. I beg you.
You won't promise. All right, getting into the next piece of this, I wanted to talk about some of the social aspects of my transition and what I have kind of observed. I have been very blessed medically, especially with where I'm currently living, the people that I surround myself with, that I've definitely experienced some very nasty transphobia, but I am still alive. Nobody's tried to hurt me yet physically. Well, kinda. That's a story for another video though. For the most part, I've been able to stay safe and be myself and be comfortable in myself. I am at a point in my transition where I would say that 90% of people don't clock me. Really, the only people that I feel like are consistently able to clock me in any sense are other queer people. I'm in college now. I've been making a lot of friends, especially with trans people, and after about a week or so, I had a couple of them say to me that they only recently had realized that I was trans because I was talking about being trans. So that has been very weird for me, because when I first started my transition, I was wearing wigs and I hadn't gotten electrolysis, so I had a full beard, and I was also very muscly. I was very, very fit.
Yeah, so to touch on that point, 3 years in, I don't even think about it anymore, because I never get misgendered. It would be super, super awkward and very rude if some stranger misgendered me. And I think that even if, I run into people that don't necessarily like or agree with trans ideology, and just want to be a jerk, they feel a little too embarrassed to kind of act on that, because it's like, seriously, dude? Yeah, so that's not even a problem anymore. Like, that really does kind of go away over time. And I am aware of the fact that there are a lot of, external factors and privileges at play, particularly in my experience, that would make that different than other people. But yeah, man, that doesn't last forever. Okay. Anyways, back to the video.
And now I have little limp noodle arms and weak legs. So yeah, it's been not as hard as I thought it was to pass. I remember the first 20 times maybe that I went outside, I was terrified. I had this feeling, I was like, what if people laugh at me? What if this is like my last time ever leaving my house? Like, what if I get killed? What if something horrible happens? Luckily, nothing bad did really happen. I did notice a lot of stares in the beginning, and I wasn't comfortable speaking in public, like even to people like when they were taking my order at like Chipotle or something, I just got all in my head and I'm like, oh my god, I totally sound like a guy right now, like this is so awkward, blah 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 blah,
And now I'm like, oh my god, you think I sound like a guy?
It's all that insecurity stuff. It's your dysphoria trying to convince you that you would be better off just going back in the closet than pushing through that bit of discomfort, because humans, we don't like what we aren't comfortable with, what we can't control. And in the beginning of your transition, when you don't really have a super solid grasp on certain aspects of the routine of or at least how I decided to present my femininity, which was doing my makeup when I was practicing and it looked bad and I still had really thick stubble, I felt embarrassed, and it was really, really hard. But it's just one of those things that you have to push through. And you have to realize, if you are going to live as somebody outside of the norm, no matter how well you pass, no matter how great you think you're doing, there are always going to be people who want to put you down.
Real shit. And you know what? You either kind of got to accept it or, change course to make yourself more comfortable. I really leaned into it. I came at that crossroads where it's like, man, I was at a crossroads where it's like, man, I really just want to please people. I don't like standing out, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, why am I doing this? Who am I trying to conform to? What am I even trying to be? A cis person? That's not very fun. I don't really want to be like them. So I'm just going to be myself and kind of ride that out and see how that goes.
So even though I pass a hell of a lot better than I did when I first started.
Passoid. Oh my God, Passoid.
I've still had some of the nastiest experiences with
Boo, Passoid.
transphobia. Like pretty recently. Next, I kind of want to break down some of my interactions with cisgender, primarily heterosexual, a lot of bisexual men and women. Kind of break down a little bit how my relationship with each has changed since I started my transition. Firstly, and I feel like most familiarly, my relationship with men has completely changed. Prior to my transition, I identified as a bisexual, pansexual. Basically, I care more about the personality.
A sexual man.
Of the person. I don't care how you identify. It doesn't really matter to me. The lighting in here just got so different so fast. Okay, anyways, I'm in college, and I have particularly tended to notice that men, once they realize that they're not going to be able to have sex with me, don't want to talk to me.
Oh my God, bestie, so true. Yeah, that's not a trans thing. It took a while to find out that guys are just like that. I don't know what to say about that. I don't have much deeper thoughts. Yeah. Anyways.
And that's fine. But I at first thought that this was kind of maybe the exception. Maybe I was putting myself against the wrong crowd. But I noticed that for most guys, this is true.
Yeah.
Almost every single guy that I was talking to prior to my transition or afterwards, they begin to objectify you in a weird way. And it's so weird because they never...
Oh my God, you pass so well, Queen. Mommy. Sorry, I was just thinking about my DMs for the last week straight. Anyways.
Did that before. But it's yeah, they get all flirty and touchy and weird because I'm trans. I don't know. I don't know.
Girl.
I shouldn't get too deep into that. I've just noticed that men mansplain the shit out of everything. I was at a frat party. Some motherfucker comes up to me and he was like, "Hey, do you like My Chemical Romance?" Of course I do. One of the best to ever do it.
Oh, Charlotte, get me the My Chem record. Can you grab me the Welcome to the Black Parade record? It's on the far right bottom shelf. Yeah. Oh yeah, when mansplaining comes into the conversation, we are not talking about My Chemical Romance. You cannot mansplain that shit to me. I also got diagnosed with autism. My Chem is one of those things for me, dude. You have no freaking idea. Anyways.
Do it. In fact, give me a sec. Anyways, bruh. This dude really has the audacity to sit there and mansplain to me what the Black Parade is about. I had some other dude, one of those guy's friends, come up to me and he's like, "My favorite colors are black and white and red. Black symbolizes death, white is life, and red is blood."
Dude, the amount of corny guys you meet in college is absolutely insane. It's what cage are they keeping them in? Just feeding them saltines and shit until they turn 18 and then they just let them out into the wild and then all of a sudden you just gotta deal with them on... oh my God.
And I'm like, holy shit. I'm just standing there and I'm like... Because if I was still presenting as male, these motherfuckers wouldn't even talk to me, let alone
it's seriously
bother me
brain
on
dead.
Some dumb
brain
shit
dead.
Like that. You really think I care what your favorite color is, Isaiah? Bitch, I hope you see this. Anyways, my relationship with women has changed drastically. as well. What I have noticed is that women are very nice to me now. Nobody is scared of me anymore, at least in large part. Middle-aged ladies, beware. You know, I do kind of tend to stand out among that crowd. But for the
Oh yeah, I trust me, mothers love me.
most part, everybody between the ages of like 13 to 25, more leaning on the femme side, tend to enjoy me a lot. I appreciate it. It's nice being invited into the club. I'm not complaining. I do notice though that women are way more excited to ask me invasive questions than guys are. I think that guys that I'm friends with, or guys that I know, or guys that know that I'm trans and continue to talk to me in any capacity, would rather just kind of push past it to avoid having any sort of uncomfortable conversation. You put two Trulies in a bitch, and then they'll just be like, I have had motherfuckers come up to me and go, oh my god, what are you? What are you? Because if I'm not a woman, I don't know what the fuck you are, Jennifer. Anyways, Dios mio, I just need to look at Gerard, calm down a little. Thank God. I want to do that makeup look. Maybe I will for another video. I'm thinking about getting my hair dyed red like Gerard. That would be sexy. Or green. I'll do green tips. That would be fucking hot. Moving on.
Wow, can she get to the point
Because
or what?
I don't really have a whole lot to say on this end. I'm just gonna fucking move on. How is it like with my parents? I had already come out.
Skip. All right, we're going a couple minutes ahead.
Like randomly buy me clothes and stuff, or be like, you want to go get your nails done, girl? No, they have completely changed their tune. I gotta say, so my mom helped.
Oh yeah, as far as the transition stuff goes, me and my parents, we're pretty chill. We just don't talk about it ever.
Me get on Medicaid was absolutely motherfucking life-saving. So thanks, Mom. And my dad, he's fuck. You know, everybody's always like, oh, you're trans, you must have daddy issues. Moving on.
Oh, brother.
I am also currently in a relationship. Woo. Yep.
Still in that same relationship. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
We're about to have our 1-year anniversary in a few months. We met in the period of time after I'd already come out once, but prior to me starting my transition again. So there was like a 1 or 2 month gap. It was just a coincidence. I went into the restaurant that they worked at. You know, I was kind of putting on my game a little bit, and they left their number in my food. I'm not complaining, you know. You know, I still got it.
You need to leave.
I still fucking got it. They have been absolutely wonderful. They have not misgendered me once. I didn't change my name, by the way. My name has always been Eden. That is a popular question that people ask me. My name has always and always will be.
Oh, brother. Yeah, I was really certain at the time that I was not going to change my name because, you know, everybody was telling me that it was already feminine enough. I think my philosophy on that kind of shifted predominantly just because it's like, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but it's also just like that feels like a different version of me. You know, it's not me right now. That was like kind of me in the hospital, in the NICU. And I don't know, you know, I'm 21 now. It would be kind of embarrassing to be using the name that my parents gave me, right? Play the video.
I hope I don't ever change it. Then this will look bad on my end in a few years. Yeah.
Oops.
They've never misgendered me. They haven't ever dead named me because I don't have a dead name. And they were super duper supportive since the beginning. Basically, we had been seeing each other for a few weeks, and I was like, hey, just letting you know, like, I'm trans. I'm about to start this transition. It's okay if you don't want to be a part of that. Like, I know we're just starting to get to know each other, but if you want to stick around, like, hey, that would be awesome. And they begged me, they implored me. They were like, please present feminine next time I see you. Like, let me see you. Like, I want to see you. And so they actually convinced me to drive out like 40 minutes that night presenting as feminine. I was wearing like a...
All right, and then from there, this seems to be mostly just like somebody tagged this relationship with men. My partner Lee is actually not a man, interestingly enough. But let's see. I'm gonna skip to the end of this time code that somebody sent. Oh, hi.
Oh my god, speak of the devil.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna run it back in a sec. No. And on that note, my partner Lee just walked in the... No, Charlotte, keep the camera where it is. My partner Lee, everybody, that I mentioned in this video right here, we're still together. We live together now. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, so that's probably one of the biggest changes that I could note from this to now is that we live together. Isn't that cute? All right. So anyways, moving on to the medical transition section of the video. Let's go.
My medical transition. Let's get into that really fast. I had no fucking insurance when I started. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. I had like 4 White Claws last night. I did not have any insurance when I started my transition. Therefore, first order of business was getting on Colorado Medicaid. For everybody who does not know, I live in the great state of Colorado. So I have been very, very blessed to be able to medically transition for free so far. And I'm excited to...
Update, bros. It's over. I lost the Medicaid. It's over, bros. I lost the Medicaid. I currently don't have insurance. It is what it is. I'll get it back. All right. So I think that this section is pretty self-explanatory too. I'm gonna assume that this is all relatively straightforward. I had only been on hormones for a year at that point. I was seeing pretty like okay breast development by this time. Nothing too crazy. I feel like that came in really at like the 2-year mark, like right before I had top surgery was actually where I had started to see the most change in my breast development. So yeah, aside from that, I've been on the Spiro pills and patches the entire time, all 3 years, really doing me well. I've been having some people trying to convince me to take shots, like injections, and I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. I don't know if I'm like boss moded enough yet for that, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, this section's lovingly titled Birthing Hips, so let's see what I was gonna say.
But yeah, it is definitely, I've gotten a lot wider in the hips. My partner likes to smack my butt all the time and say that I have
Okay, and well, anyways, going forward from there.
That's because I got electrolysis, bitch. I'm on like session 6 out of 8. I paid for an 8-session package on my face and chest area because I used to be very hairy.
I actually have not had electrolysis since, and I will say for the most part it's done a really good job. If I had more money and more time, I would definitely go get more, but considering how much I spent, how much time it took me, all things considered, I am very blessed in that department. Super grateful for my experience. Yeah.
Has been fucking awesome. At about $100 per session for about 30 minutes, this bitch will... It feels like somebody taking like 3 rubber bands, winding them up as far as they go, and snapping that shit right under your nose. It is so painful.
Seriously, one of the most painful experiences I've had in my life, completely unmatched. I don't think I could comfortably tell you any one thing that has hurt me more than electrolysis. Aside from like, actually a couple weeks ago, you can see this. This is like a little unrelated. I had acrylics. I hit my hand with acrylics so hard, it like broke my nail under it. Yeah, that's probably, yeah. Anyways, this is so irrelevant.
Ladies, gents, and everybody else, it is actually the worst feeling I've ever had in my entire life. I have 10 tattoos. Yes, count them, 10 tattoos. And I never, ever got close to crying. But by the time I left that first electrolysis session, motherfucker, I was sobbing out the bank. I was crying my eyes out because it hurt so freaking bad. It is a tiny laser that they just go.
It makes that sound. It goes. and it is really scary. I couldn't even imagine what people that go through like laser like on your eyes. That's got to be even worse. But yeah, this in terms of physical pain, I'd put it at a 10. You know, like those charts that they give you at the doctor's office that scale it from like a 0 to a 10, and they've got the little sad faces on them. I would put it at like the 10 or whatever the highest marking for that one is. Okay, so in terms of what's next, let's get
over and over, like every inch of the whole beard area. And the more beard you got, the harder that shit is.
I had a lot.
Baby, did I have a lot of beard to
Yep.
get rid of in the beginning. Now, got nothing but a few looses on my neck, but they're white anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, that was definitely not roses. That shit sucked. Would recommend the procedure. Would recommend the Dr. Barris Laser Skincare. Absolutely wonderful. You know I love you, Dana. But yes, I would not recommend the pain. 0 out of 10. I also did like a really high intensity on the laser, so maybe turn it down or something when you go in, because it hurt like a bitch. All right, and the last medical question, or rather answer that I'm throwing at you for the day, are what procedures have I had done, and what am I planning on getting done?
I'll answer that question for you. At the time, that was it. Just electrolysis, and then, just getting on hormones.
So I am kind of planning on waiting. I've never shared that with anybody before, so you're the first to hear that. I have no plans currently to get it. However, it is covered through my Medicaid, so I might before I get off of it. However, I am planning, and I am scheduled for a breast augmentation. Let's go, bitches. Woo! So that's going to be in like April or May of 2022. That's going to be about 6 or 7 months from now, because my doctor, my endocrinologist, I have a consult set up for next month, to which they're going to put it for another 6 months out so that they can get all the legal work done. But by that time, I should be far enough in my breast development that they're going to be ready for it. And it'll be awesome. And I'll have super fat, double D, mommy milker, Trisha Paytas titties. It's going to be fucking baller. And you're all invited to sign them. In the meantime, though, definitely a lot of chest development. I don't know if you could see it under the shirt.
I was like an A cup, dog. Okay. All right.
Pretty.
All right. Don't flatter yourself. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Going pretty darn well for only like 6 or 7 months. Very happy with my hormones. They're definitely going strong. I'm supposed to be starting progesterone in like 6 months, but right now I'm only on estradiol and spironolactone. Also, this just randomly popped into my head. This is the voice that I use when I'm speaking at home. For anybody who is curious, I have a completely different voice. I'm in voice training lessons at this current moment with a graduate student at the college that I go to. He's absolutely wonderful. So I do present with a different voice out in public, at work, at school, etc., etc. But at home, this is how I like to talk to my family, to my partner, and to my dog. The most important change that I want to note here for you is that my eyes are bigger and my smile is brighter.
Yeah, dude, it really, physically speaking, aside from like my skin getting softer and like the redistribution of fat in your hair, like, okay, so yeah, there are a lot of things that it definitely benefits, but it doesn't make you a completely different looking person. I think that really, if I could, kind of cut the BS here and say what genuinely has changed the most is my confidence. If like, whenever I say like, you can see it in my eyes and stuff, it was that like, if you see pictures of myself from like right around the time I came out, I was like so ashamed to exist. And that is very clear before I transitioned for this period of time. Then, I was still carrying a lot of residual transphobia. That stuff doesn't go away. You have to work on that, and that was a very deeply seated issue. A lot of stuff to unpack there, but yeah, let's keep it going.
I know that's super fucking corny, but it's true. I bet my eyes aren't actually that much bigger, but they definitely reflect differently. I think people notice that I look a lot happier to be here, and that when I smile, it seems like I mean it. I'll probably share some pictures of myself prior to my transition, and I look fucking dead inside. I would.
Look at those, ladies and gents, and others. Yeah, just completely dead inside. All three of these, just a little bit.
Kind of going through the worst of it. So I'm not looking my best in my
literally,
pictures,
like on the verge of death.
My smile is bigger and my eyes are brighter. In my eyes, I see that as the wealth of opportunities that are being laid in front of me, and the many great things that I have accomplished and will continue to accomplish, as well as the fact that I'm just a whole lot happier to be here. Now, to break this up a little bit, first off, I was having peanut butter and jelly before I decided to record this video. Oh shit, the Gerard Way pictures. Sorry. A little bit about me to introduce myself. Again, my name is Eden. Nice to meet you. I love...
Dude, that shit awakens my sleeper agent every time I meet a trans girl that has that name. Anytime I read like an old document, anytime I call my bank up until I got my name changed, that shit just makes me go like a dog when they see a squirrel. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Of reading, writing, drawing, cooking, running, skateboarding, playing with my dog, blah blah blah.
Frauding, doing poppers.
Some of you might know me, especially if you've already been subscribed to this channel, because prior to my transition, I used to like writing music. So thank you to the 100,000 people that listen to my music in the last 3 months. Even though I haven't promoted any of it in like 2 years, you guys are baller. That is absolutely freaking amazing. Thank you so much.
Cap, absolute cap. I don't even want to get into that. I don't know where I was pulling that shit from. You guys, don't listen to this bitch. She is an unreliable narrator. Not me. This one. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her.
So much for that. It's definitely been putting me in the mood to want to write some more music. I put it on the back burner because I was a bit embarrassed about my voice. I'm gonna be honest. I just wasn't comfortable singing in a male voice, or a masculine presenting voice, I guess. But I feel like I've gotten to the point now where I can sing. I have been writing a lot of music and I'm excited for it, as well as this baby. I've been working on writing a comic. Some other people that are sub to this channel might remember that when I was in like middle school.
Okay. I think that this video is essentially done, and I want to start the next section of this video by jumping off from where I was saying. So I was saying that at the time I had kind of put music on the back burner and that I was working on a comic, and this has come full circle in like the strangest way. So at the time, I was working on a little comic called Hellraiser. And at some point, I got the idea because I had years worth of experience making music, but I had no real direction for it, that I decided to actually write an album as the soundtrack for that comic. And in the process of writing that album, it really took a life of its own. It took years of rewrites and revisions, and ultimately the comic itself got scrapped. That never even ended up coming out. However, Hellraiser is the name of my debut album that came out back in February, my first album since I transitioned, basically starting completely from scratch. And that is definitely one of the biggest areas in which my life has changed over the last year. We're coming up on a year since that album came out. And dude, everything feels so different now from before then. It is really cool to see this, especially because a lot of the experiences that I call upon in my music, particularly on Hellraiser, are about this exact time in my life. There was so much insecurity, both in myself and my place in life and where I was going. And yeah, I guess it's just strange to see that embodied in me as a person, that I could actually sit here and watch, and I know what I was feeling at the time. I know what I was going through, and it's just like, man, that correlation is insane. So at a different point in this video, I also touched upon the fact that I had yet to get any surgeries, which has changed since the last time I talked to you guys. I got top surgery. like about a year ago, right before my album came out. In fact, the cover to Hellraiser, I took that the night that I got home from my top surgery. The very first instance that I could take that bra off and take a photo of myself, the Hellraiser cover is the very first photo that I took with that on my iPhone, and then I edited it by hand. But to me, that is like the coolest bit of lore, because you can actually see my top surgery scars from where they did fat grafting, like here and here, underneath the text. You can see it on the alternative expanded cover. I'm sure I'll put it on screen. But that to me is just like, man, like, because, you know, more than anybody else, I'm the person that gets something out of Hellraiser as an album and what it represents about my transition. And it is really cool because the cover art itself kind of bookends the whole experience of making it, you know, because I think to a lot of us, we kind of think of like getting gender affirming care in the form of surgery as like kind of like your status. Like, yeah, I've made it. My transition's like over. And so, yeah, I don't know. That was just cool. That was just a cool tidbit. So yeah, I got top surgery. I after getting top surgery, became way more firm in my belief that I do not want face femme surgery, and I definitely don't want SRS. And my reasoning for both is a little bit different. First, well, I don't know. They have a lot more in common than you'd think. A lot of it comes down to what I was saying earlier. Why would I want to make such drastic changes to me just to conform to the desires and aesthetics of cis people? Oftentimes we have, and yeah, in the wake of getting top surgery, I've actually grown a lot firmer on my stance that I don't want FFS or SRS in any capacity, because at the fundamental, I truly believe it's like, why would I want to go so far out of my way to meet the aesthetics and desires of cis people? Specifically, this Americanized view of beauty, this white standard, it's all very, very deep rooted. Like, I don't mean to go like full conspiracy brain about this kind of stuff, but whenever you start to challenge, the status quo in the way that you have to in order to transition, you just end up like going further and further down this rabbit hole where you kind of start to realize that at least here living in the United States, our standards of beauty are just completely messed up, man. And they're based off of some really untrue nonsense. And so, yeah, for me, whenever I got done with top surgery, you know, they're like, okay, well, do you want to move on to the next thing? I could have it in as short as 3 months after that. I could be talking to you right now with a brand new face if I really wanted to. And it's like, no. I don't think that the answer to my problem is just making these adjustments to make other people happy. I want to just be myself, and they can learn to fucking live with it. And that's just how it is. Same thing goes with bottom surgery. 99% of people are never going to be intimate with me in that way, right? So if that's the case, why does it matter if it doesn't bring me any dysphoria? I don't have gender dysphoria from having a penis. I also don't have erectile dysfunction. And I've, over the course of the years of transitioning, I've gotten a lot better at managing tucking. So it's like there's really no use in that sort of stuff for me. And, maybe I could make a video in 2 years where I'm like, man, did that age like milk. But I gotta say that that's probably one of those things that as the years progress and I continue to make these update videos, as long as I'm alive and able, as long as I have access to a camera, I will try and do this for you guys. I'll probably do it at like year 5 or something. But yeah, as long as I'm able to do this, I really don't think that my stance on that is going to change. If anything, the more conversations that I have with other trans people about the subject, it really drives it deeper. Especially too, whenever, just in my anecdotal observations, it's like, top surgery did so much for my mental health because I don't know. That's just one of those intrinsic things that I don't really think I could put words to yet. Like, it's only been a year. It's still like so fresh for me. I can't even process the idea of like not having boobs for a couple decades and then just getting them. Like, I don't even know how to put that into words for you, but I have seen other people that have gotten the other surgeries, and I don't know, man, like a lot of the times they don't really seem as happy as they thought that they were going to be. And I don't know. Yeah, maybe that might just be like a whole different story for a different day. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody can hold their own opinions on it, but I just don't think that those are for me. One thing that I would really like to note about this video that I noticed was that at the time I was really struggling to form relationships. I was trying so hard to conform to the ideas of what cis straight people want you to be, and in that I was really pleasing nobody, because at the end of the day, they kind of don't want that much to do with me. And whenever you try that hard to be like them, it ends up pushing a lot of trans people away. It's a very alienating thing where you end up being the person that gets burned by it the most. So another change that I've had is just, again, the confidence, being more okay with my identity. At the time, I think that I was so concerned with passing that I was scared of being around other trans people. And this is going to sound a little messed up, but because they didn't pass and it felt like they were making my experience worse, being more visible as a trans person by being with them, which is a super dumb and backwards way of thinking. But at the time, it was genuinely out of concern for my safety, and because I lacked that confidence and I would project all of my insecurity onto other people. It made me really hard to be friends with. Just plain and simple, nobody wanted anything to do with me whenever I was scared of being judged all the time and super, super judgmental. But it has gotten a lot better though. Making friends with more trans people has been such a healing experience in so many different ways. I met my best friend Charlotte, who's actually playing Call of Duty behind me right now. And that was great because, in this video, I was saying that I put making music on the back burner, which was one of the biggest passions I've ever had for anything in my life. And I was so lucky. Damn, 4 rounds. Anyways, I was so lucky to have met her because she urged me to finish it and to actually put it out. I showed her Bloodsucker, for example. She was like, man, you got to do something with this. People will like it. And from there, it's been this crazy roller coaster that I bring up because it has gone hand in hand with my transition, because it's been following me throughout the course of my transition, my identity within making music, my greatest creative passion, on top of just the wonders that having stage presence can do for your confidence. I'm sure you can see from this that I'm a lot more comfortable just kind of talking into the void now. And so, yeah, that's kind of neat. I don't know what else I could really say about it other than that it's kind of cool. Okay, so what are my goals for the future? I'm thinking by year 5, I will come back to you guys with like a cool cape, and I'll express that I've finally achieved my goals of world domination, that I am the #1 on streaming on every platform, that I've been posting on YouTube consistently every month, on TikTok every day. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Genuinely, I have no idea. I would like to think that with where everything's going, that the music that I've been working on will reach a lot more people than it has currently. Not saying I'm not grateful for everything that I've accomplished so far, but I really do see this being something that will be really, really relevant in the future. In these videos, I think that it's not going to fade as much as it's going to be a lot more prominent of a talking point. But yeah, man, I gotta really say, since I don't have all that much left to say, that transitioning is one of the best things I could have ever done. I am so happy that I did it. I'm so happy too that I took the time to journal and make videos, and I have these little things I can call back upon and just be like, man, where is the time going? I can't believe it, and I'm so happy to have you guys here to go through that journey with me. I'm glad to not have to be able to do it alone, So these have been my unscripted thoughts reacting to this little video here, a year in my transition, now being 3 years in with a little bit of additional insight. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, my name is Astrid. My newest album, This Can't Be Good For Me, But I Feel Great, which is a reflection on all these years of experiences brought and put into this miserable, depressing, hyperpop alternative album, whatever you want to call it. Dude, you got gotta listen to it. If you like my videos, you're definitely gonna love it. Link should be in the bio. Otherwise, you can find me at OMFG Astrid on all platforms. And with that being said, I hope to catch you soon. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, if you're struggling with us in any way. This community needs to support each other. And if there's anything that I can do to help people out, I'm always happy to do so. With that being said, have a great rest of your day and stay safe, stay well. Bye, guys.